So the puppy showed the little boy about positive attitude. And I wondered where that video was going when I first saw it. And didn't quite get it, and you don't, until the very last second when the little boy gets up and you see the bottom part of one of his legs is missing. So positive attitude. It seems like we get tired of hearing it. Have a positive attitude. Positive attitude. Lift your thoughts. And yet it's so important to life. And our spirituality calls us to speak positively. We've been posting on Facebook now, several posts every single day. And I'm starting to notice what gets a lot of views on Facebook. This particular post got just under 14,000 views in a couple of days. 206 people shared it. Most of our posts get about 100, 200 views. This one went viral. Switch your mentality from I'm broken and helpless to I'm growing and healing, and watch how fast your life changes for the better. And I wonder, is it that 14,000 people saw it and said, amen, I'm on it, that's how I live? Or do we have a large percentage of people saying, man, I need to do that? Yes, my life would be better if I switched my mentality to something positive. And we do hear it a lot. And it almost seems like a cliche. But our thoughts determine what shows up in our life. It determines what our experience is of what's showing up in our lives. It was kind of funny. I was talking to Damaris earlier this morning, and she was asking me about the classes I'm going to be taking next week. And it's new and different to be in classes when you're 60. And it's new and different thinking about being in class all day, every day, for 5 days. In fact, I leave here next Sunday morning, and my first class is Sunday night. Yeah, they're not playing around. But I wanted to be able to take 4 classes in a week, knock them out, and then in October I can take some more. But I tell you what, what's going on in my head about being in class all day, every day, for 5 days, is tripping me up a little bit. I already have a story about how hard it's going to be, and how much I don't want to sit anywhere all day, every day, for 5 days. And so it was funny as I was talking to Damaris about that this morning. I thought, my talk is perfect for me. I guess I'm talking to myself this morning. All of you can go home. I'm just talk to myself here in the room. But really, I've got this story. And so as soon as I said that out loud to her, I thought I have to reframe next week. Because I don't all this week want to think about how much I'm not going to like being in class for 5 days. That is not going to make my experience positive. I probably won't learn as much if I'm kicking and screaming all day, every day, for 5 days. So it's not even like I'm in the situation now. I've already dubbed it a problem. I already feel like it's a sacrifice, some obligation, forgetting I signed up for this. I want this. But isn't that how we attack things? As if we're some kind of sacrificial lamb. You know, I'm a harder and flogging myself. Gotta take my classes. Oh my gosh. When I can say, oh my gosh, I get to knock out 4 classes in 5 days. I get to get those credits. I get closer and closer to being in this ministry program. I get to learn some things I didn't know and affirm some things I already had swimming around in my head and my heart. I'm going to meet some wonderful people I didn't know. I'm going to have some teachers that I've never had before. I should write that down. Because I'm going to need it every day for the next 7 days. And probably on the road to Houston next week. We talk about this a lot, don't we? But life shows up a lot. And we have to determine how we're going to think about it. In Unity, our philosophy is metaphysics. That truly everything that shows up for us, we have a choice about how we think about it and how we experience it. It doesn't mean the circumstances change or go away. It just means we choose not to suffer through it. We choose not to kick and scream. We choose not to consider it bad or painful. We choose not. And then we create for ourselves, and probably the people we're dealing with, a positive situation, a much different experience. So, I go back to Conversations with God, book 1, a lot. And so this is Neil Donald Walsh's journey with God. And he wrote down the answers he got from God when he asked some very pointed questions. And if you read the book, you can accept whether or not you think this is really God talking to him. But for me, this resonated when I read these books. It felt like the God I always thought existed, but had not heard about. So this is what God is telling Neil about life. I tell you this, there is no coincidence, and nothing happens, quote unquote, by accident. Each event and adventure is called to yourself, capital S, by yourself, capital S, in order that you might create and experience who you really are. All true masters know this. We are the masters. That is why mystic masters remained unperturbed in the face of the worst experiences of life, as you would define them. The great teachers of your Christian religion understand this. They know that Jesus was not perturbed by the crucifixion, but expected it. He could have walked away, but he did not. He could have stopped the process at any point. He had that power. Yet he did not. He allowed himself to be crucified in order that he might stand as man's eternal salvation. Look, he said, at what I can do. Look at what is true, and know that these things and more shall you do also. For have I not said, ye are gods? Yet you do not believe. If you cannot, then believe in yourself. Believe in me. Such was Jesus' compassion that he begged for a way and created it to so impact the world that all might come to heaven, which is self-realization. If in no other way than through him, for he defeated misery and death. What a way to put it. He defeated misery, and so might you. The grandest teaching of Christ was not that you shall have the everlasting life, but that you do. Not that you shall have brotherhood in God, but that you do. Not that you shall have whatever you request, but that you do. All that is required is to know this, for you are the creator of your reality, and life can show up no other way for you than that way in which you think it will. You think it into being. This is the first step in creation. God the Father is thought. Your thought is the parent which gives birth to all things. Your thought is the parent which gives birth to all things. So once it ends up here, cooking around in your head, you're creating something. You're creating. We are creators. God, the creator. We are made in the image and likeness of God. We too are creators and continually creating every moment with every thought. So if you're in misery, you're thinking misery. You can choose not to be in misery no matter what is happening at the moment. No matter what. So we can go to Scripture for similar positive messages. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. That's Philippians 4:8. Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. That's from Mark. Anxiety weighs down the heart, but a kind word cheers it up. That's from Proverbs. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. That's Jeremiah. A cheerful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones. That's from Proverbs. Don't be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. That's from Philippians. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. That's from Proverbs. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. That's from Timothy. For it is not what goes into your mouth that defiles you. You are defiled by the words that come out of your mouth. That's from Matthew 12. First we think it, then we say it. Oh, I'm going to have a terrible week. 4 classes every day, 5 days in a row. I've already defiled my experience. I got to flip the script. We all have to flip the script. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits. Proverbs 18. The messages are all there. And we can decide. 14,000 people. 14,000 people. The songs Shelley just sang. It's amazing that you're here today singing that, because you were going to come here in May and could not. And this song, you say, that she just sang is perfect for this message. I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. Am I more than just a sum of every high and every low? Remind me once again just who I am, because I need to know. That's what I think people were thinking when they saw that post. That song on YouTube was viewed over 10 million times. People hearing that song. And it is a beautiful song. Whoever wrote that wrote the lyrics and the music. For me, it's one of those singer songs. When you hear it, you think, oh, I gotta sing that. And every time it comes on, you gotta turn it up and hear it. And we've played it here, and people resonate with it, and tears come to people's eyes, because we want to believe that we are what God says we are. That we have the dominion and the power. That we are all that. As one of my cousins said, all that and a bag of chips and and he added fried chicken on a Saturday night. So maybe all that in a bag of chips is just enough. But we're more than enough. We are magnificence. So I guess that's the fried chicken on Saturday night. Yes. Positive thinking. And our unity principles are all about the positive life. God is absolute good, everywhere present. Humans are innately divine because they are made in the image and likeness of God. Human beings create their own experiences by the activity of their thinking. Everything in the manifest realm has its beginning in thought. Prayer, meditation are the creative tools that heighten awareness of God. It is not enough to know and understand the laws of life. A person must live the truth they know. That's what I loved about unity when I found it. Because it didn't come at me with hellfire and damnation. It came at me saying, you are that. And if you don't feel it, this is how you get there. Change your thinking. Change what you're saying to and about yourself. That first song from The Greatest Showman. She's singing out loud. I get the message all the time, I'm not enough. That I'm ugly, that I'm this, that I'm that. And yet, I know somewhere when I fight and find the truth that this is me, that I am magnificent, that I'm worthy of love, that I'm healed, that I'm whole, perfect, and complete. And it changes our experience of life in the world. Everything changes. Your paradigm is different. I have a copy of this to give to everybody because I'm always talking about unity principles without saying they're unity principles. So yes, we know that that's out there, but we have to practice it. We got to do the work. We got to catch ourselves saying 4 classes every day, 5 days, and say, oh my gosh, how pathetic is that? I need to change my thinking. Otherwise, I'm walking into misery for 5 days. And you can choose misery. It is yours to choose. You can choose the hard way. It is yours to choose. Or by the activity of your thinking, you can have something different right here, right now. Like the passage from Conversations with God. Doesn't mean you will have that. It means you do have it right now in this moment, no matter what the circumstances are. Changing our thinking. It's not always easy. And maybe you have to play the songs and sing it out loud until you get it. I love that at the end of that song, she's just saying, I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe. Yes, I believe what you say of me. The Creator's given us everything, everything to be all that we can be, all that we already are, but we don't see or think. We're given the kingdom, and yet we walk around like we have very little. We're given the keys, but we act like we're locked away into some other type of existence and destiny. We act like we have no tools. We act like we're helpless. And it's amazing how many songs are out there that affirm that. There's a gentleman, Greg Tamblyn, who used to make the New Thought circuit with songs. And one of his talk and his songs were always about those victim whiny love songs we hear all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm nothing without you. Please come back. This morning I was listening to One Less Bell to Answer, One Less Egg to Fry. Since you left, my life's so empty. I could be happy, but all I do is cry.
Yeah,
Yes.
immediately turn that on.
Click. As beautiful as the song is, and that's where we get tripped up. We hear the melody, and then we're running around singing about how we don't have any love and never will. Oh, my heart. Yes. In fact, the gentleman who teaches metaphysics, Paul Hasselbeck, says, don't sing it at all, because when you sing, you pray twice. And so when you sing about being a victim, you are embedding victimhood in here. And of course, there was a collective groan from the class, because we love the songs. Do you know how many songs are negative? So many of them. So many of them have us singing about our brokenness, rather than boundless love, magnificence. Watch what you sing, just like you watch what you feed your body. You're feeding your heart and your mind with victimhood and lack and limitation. Flogging ourselves through the day, dragging forward. I don't have anybody. I never will. Yes.
That's what they say about playing country music backwards. And you get all your stuff back, you know?
Yeah, what's the joke about country music? You lost your dog, your love's walked away. You got a country song, right?
Yeah.
What are you singing to yourself? Whether it's a real song, or your thoughts, or what's in your heart, what are you singing? Where the deer and the antelope play. You can't not sing that without the southern twang, right?
That would say.
Yes.
That's a safe spot.
Yeah. What are we singing? What are you singing to your heart? And it doesn't matter, just like the song This Is Me. It doesn't matter what the world sings to you. It doesn't matter what your parents sang to you if it wasn't good. It doesn't matter what your high school friends said to you. Do you know I recently went to a high school reunion, and there were some people who said they weren't coming because high school was painful. I've been out of high school 40-some years. Are we still tripped up by what somebody said in high school?
There's a lot of people.
A lot of people, yes. Which is probably why that post goes viral. Because we're still feeling it. Stuff from 40, 50 years ago, somebody said. Yeah. Somebody who's not in touch with their own magnificence, let alone yours, said something negative, and we drag it with us through our days. Yeah. Well, that's a nice segue next week. Vicki will be talking about draining relationships. That's probably one of them. If you're carrying around somebody's messages, you probably need to work on that. Yeah. Or you can choose the baggage. I had containers of baggage decades ago. Yeah. Huge things. They put cars in. That's how much baggage I had. And I got tired of dragging it. And I started to say something positive about myself and about my life. And I got in touch with these 5 principles and tested them. Because no one had ever told me that. I read all the self-help books in the 70s and 80s, and it started to percolate. And then I started testing that, and everything changed on a dime. Everything. Test them. That's what I love about Unity Principles, because it begs you to come try it. And make it work. And if you don't like doing it, then you stop. If you find that being in misery is what you prefer because it's easier or you're more familiar with it, because sometimes the positive thinking is not what we're used to. We may be able to think it in one area of our life, but not another. We may be able to handle it with our work life, but still can't get to the place where we think we deserve fantastic love in our lives. Yeah. Doesn't all happen at once. Sometimes we've got to start with the easy things. Build that spiritual muscle and get to where we can get to the other areas in our life that are more challenging. And that give us pause when we try to reframe and think about something wonderful happening for us. The powers in our thinking, the activity of the mind, which Neil Donald Walsh says, God says, is spirit, that our thought, that's what I call God, divine mind. I affirm every day, I am one with divine mind. Yes. What are you thinking? What are you singing to yourself? What life are you choosing right here and right now?